I'm making this video on a very urgent basis, and this is about a rumor that the people have been spreading on the internet and YouTube, and now they are trying to capitalize on your fear, because first they have created that fear among you and now they are making money out of it in the places where you actually don't need help. So this is where we are going to expose such myths with proof directly from the students who were victims of these institutions, either offline or online. We're not talking about any one particular people or institution, but this is what is happening, and you need to be very careful when you are watching those videos. This will be an eye-opener how, with proof, I'm going to show you how these concepts are not correct in your case with the exam results. So hello everyone, I'm Anurag from Edutrainex PTE. As usual, I always try to bring the truth in front of you. No extra propaganda, no extra marketing strategy. Sheer truth, sheer techniques. If you are with me, keep subscribed and watch this video right till the end, because this will be an absolute eye-opener for you. So let's talk about the first and the most important things. What exactly is the PTE software looking for you, and why are people getting the low scores? Before I bust those myths, which I promised to you in the beginning of the video, I need to show you the reasons or causes why you actually face failures or hard time when you are going for the speaking module. Okay, first of all, I'm not talking about the noise issues in the exam hall at this point of time, because that also affects you. In my other videos, I have mentioned about it and how you can minimize those noise issues, especially from the neighbors. So do watch them if you need clarity on those aspects, but this one, I'm just focusing on what you need to do on your part. So first things first, and this is what we are going to talk about mainly in this particular video, is whether my voice or whether my pitch is capable of getting a 90 score or not. This is the area where people are misguiding you. I'll make a separate video where I'll make the students sit down and give you the actual testimony. Okay, I'll do that as well for you. Second thing, am I speaking clearly enough for the software to understand? Because you need to understand first that there is a software that is evaluating your response. Am I pronouncing the words properly? So I'll show you some responses from the students on this particular aspect as well. Clarity and pronunciation are linked together. So if you are not being clear in the words that you are speaking, no matter what, how fluent you are, still the AI, the PTE AI penalizes you by a little bit and you are missing the target score. So I'll show you the proof of those things as well. What about intonation? Is it really necessary or not? Do I need to fluctuate my voice, or by how much? That is the main question. So you can do a normal speaking the way I'm speaking, sometimes modulation, sometimes not. But even though if you are not intonating, that's not going to harm you in the exam. Little bit it's okay, but don't try to sing a song. Again, I'll show you some sample responses where people think they need to sing a song in the exam, which is actually hurting your PTE speaking scores. So now you know what are the reasons or what are the causes for failures in the speaking module. Now it's time to bust the first myth, which has been creating a cause of fear, and a lot of comments we are getting around these. Especially some of my students as well. Okay, they were facing this dilemma whether I will get a 90 score or at least cross a 79 in the speaking as well or not. This is the software that I could find on the internet that some people are talking about, which is called as the Voice Pitch Analyzer, available on both Android and iPhone. Something like that. And these are the sample voice pitches of some of the students. I will show their scorecard as well in the real exam as well as the official PTE mock test, which is actually checked by the same PTE software that gives you the real exam scores. The second sample from an Indian student. This one was from a student from Middle East. This one is from an Indian student, and this one is my own voice, right? So you can see how this can be misleading information for you, because the range that you are seeing on the YouTube channels says 140 to 160 for male speakers. Now you see how much they are getting. This guy is well below 124. His second attempt was also close to 9900, like that. Okay, now this guy also recorded 3 responses, the second guy from India. Again, not exceeding 113. This one not exceeding 116. And this one not more than 118. Whereas my responses, I tried various things and I just put a range here. So it is exceeding sometimes. But what about these students who were actually one of these, this particular guy? This institute actually has a presence in Australia as well. Okay, they have a center and they told him typically to sit down for a few weeks and just work on his pitch. Okay, whereas when I heard it, it was not that much of a problem. I'll show you his response. Listen to it.
Lions and lioness play different roles in the life of the pride. The lioness work together to hunt and help rear the cubs. This allows them to get the most from their hard work, keeping them healthier and safer. Being smaller and lighter than males, lioness are more agile and faster.
I do agree that this guy has a deep voice, a strong voice. But does that mean is he going to fail the exam in the speaking module? Let's hear the second one.
The given image represents that it is a beautiful image. There must have been a popular debate about this image, whether it is true or false. However, the given image appears to be true. There are multiple elements in this image: how sugar is made, juice extraction, evaporation, boiling, refine, and also I could see that sugar cane and sugar products. In conclusion, the given image includes a lot of complicated data and analyzed with all the sufficient data.
Okay, now you heard these two samples, and after a couple of slides I will show their actual scores in the real exam as well as the official PTE mock test, and then you can decide by yourself whether these kind of voices according to these institutions will actually not get good marks, not even cross 50. But I'll show you the result and it's very promising, believe me. For my own response, I did couple of responses and checked it. You can see my voice is as low as 90 and as high as close to 200. But still, I have been consistently getting 90 scores in the PTE mock test or the real PTE exam whenever I want to experiment with them. I also shared a video about the PTE exam changes. That time also, beginning of September also, I did a mock test. And then I scored perfectly fine. So sometimes, yes, I do speak in deeper voices, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to fail my PTE exam. It's time that you wake up. You wake up and you bust those myths. Okay, don't get misguided. Don't get distracted from your actual focus. What you need to focus on, I will show you shortly. First things first. What is the real culprit? The voice or actually the technique? I would say you go with the technique. There is something definitely wrong with your technique of delivery. Are you speaking properly? Am I speaking with a good speed? Am I speaking fluently? Am I speaking naturally? Now, naturally is a vague word, a gray area. What exactly naturally is? Naturally means that you have to be consistent with your speed. Same amount of speed that I'm using is fine. Okay, you don't have to sound like a Rajdhani Express. Blah, 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 blah. Be clear. That's why natural. Whenever you hear people naturally, they speak clearly. Now you may tell that, oh, native speakers say, I don't understand anything. But it's still they are saying naturally. You don't have a habit of listening. That's where you're lacking. And that's why you think that they are speaking really fast and not clear. But actually they are. Right? So now I want to show you a couple of more responses from the live students. And I'll show you this guy's score as well. Where exactly is he lacking? Is my native accent influencing my actual targets for the exam? Absolutely, this is one of the main reasons we have seen in a lot of students. And as soon as they start losing the influence of the accent on their voice, on their delivery of speech, then they start getting more marks because then you sound more natural for the software, right? It's a software that's checking your responses. So once you start sounding more natural, more fluent, absolutely, you get better scores. So let's hear two more responses from each of the students and try to understand what is the problem with this voice.
This lecture was about how we spend less fuel to send rocks through space. It is also provide information about less complicated construction and mathematical calculations to make it more stable with cylinders. After analysis, it can be concluded that this lecture shows important information is strongly supported by important facts and figures and have a great impact on high pressure and combustion.
Okay, that's enough. We have heard enough of this particular response. Now, this type of response has multiple problems. First of all, did you notice the ups and downs? Too many. It was sounding like a song. Second thing, what most of the words that were spoken were not clear. I could hardly understand the words that were spoken. I had to listen very, very hard to try to figure out which words were spoken. So same problem even the PT software will also get when you try to speak like this. Okay, and artificial intonation of voices will actually degrade your scores. So don't try to induce the intonation artificially. Whatever comes naturally from your side, just give the best shot. That's what you need to do. Second response. So now you saw the problem with clarity, the intonation problem. The second problem is focused on your pronunciation of the words. Again, clarity and naturality of the language.
Surprisingly, despite what appears to be an infinite variations, all difficult conversations share a common structure. When you are caught up in the details and anxiety of particularly difficult conversation, this structure is hard to see. But understanding that structure is essential to improve how you handle your most challenging conversations.
Okay, so thank you these students for lending their voices for this video. Now, coming back to the scores, how much the first response do you think will get you in the exam? Okay, not even a 50 score you are going to get from this particular audio that we just listened, the first one. What about the second one? He did have good fluency, he did have everything that was needed for the exam except for one thing, which was not pronouncing the words properly. Conversation, variation, instead of variation, conversation, structure, instead of structure. But this guy still managed to get close to his target score. This was his real exam score. So you can see he just missed by an inch for the speaking. So you can see how much fluency gives you more marks than the pronunciation issues. But still, I hope and I wish him the best if he can fix this particular issue, at least specifying the words clearly what he is saying, and he can definitely cross the 79 plus score. But for the first voice that we heard, she needs to do a lot more effort than this guy. First of all, she needs to be fluent, maintain a good speed, sound natural, don't introduce artificial intonation, not at all necessary. You just heard the second guy, you saw his score, he was almost close to the mark. Now, I'm going to share you the most important things, which is what is the problems with you and does those myths, the myths that we busted in this particular video, I'm going to show you the proof of those two people. Okay, but before I show you those scorecards for your own satisfaction and to bust this myth, I just want to highlight some more problems in you. And please, also more real examples and real scores I'm going to share with you. Listen to this response and I will show you his score shortly.
According to a recent study, a star located near supermassive black hole at the center of Milky Way galaxy has been determined to have originated from outside the galaxy. This discovery marks the first instance of a star from another galaxy being identified in close proximity to a supermassive black hole.
According to, again related to pronunciation. Okay, let me show you his scorecard first. So this was his scorecard, less than 70. Less than 70, he closely missed 70 and 79. Although he did sound a little bit fluent, but there was some hesitations as well. So the problem number one in your voice, in yourself, is the hesitations. Make sure you eliminate the hesitations at all cost. You have to sound very fluent, you have to sound very smooth. Okay, even if you are speaking nonsense, but still sound fluent. Okay, sometimes we deviate away from the topic and we may speak about some other things which were not mentioned in the lecture or in the image, but still be clear in your responses. Okay, sometimes it happens with me as well. Okay, to err is human. So we all do make mistakes, but we have to minimize it if we really want to excel in this exam. Okay, and then what was the second issue that you heard in this voice? According to the pronunciation, again the influence of the native accent. Okay, and these are the two reasons which is what is causing this guy to not reach his mark. So again we'll work on him because he is our student, so we'll make sure that he reaches the 79 mark that he is trying for. Let's look at another response and listen to this time.
Smoking is not only bad for your health, it also puts thousands of children in poverty in the UK alone. Smoking places a financial burden on low income families, suggesting that parents are likely to forego basic household and food necessities in order to fund their addiction. Smoking is an expensive habit and one that millions of people around the world.
Okay, so you heard this particular response. Now, why I showed you this response is because to show you the people or the kind of voices, the kind of speech will not be successful in the exam. Okay, this guy did not have a good result in the exam because first of all, his voice is so husky that he is not able to speak properly, and you can rewind the video and listen to that voice again. Okay, there are multiple mistakes in the voice. Okay, multiple mistakes in the response. Why? Because there are hesitations. Some words he is reading wrongly. So pronunciation problems, hesitation problems, and then on top of it, by God's grace, he got a deeper voice. There's nothing you can do there apart from the ideas that I shared with you in my earlier videos to adjust your neck positions and then sound a little bit lighter. Okay, but only in the worst case scenario. Let's listen to this voice again, and so that you have a clear idea in the mind when actually I am in the problem area.
Smoking is not only bad for your health,
Smoking is not bad for your health. It's too bad. I have to squeeze my neck to actually sound like that. So, of course, adjusting neck positions has been practiced by the singers from a long time to go for higher pitch or go for lower pitch. Okay, so only for certain, you can say 1 in 10,000 people may have this kind of problem, but majority of you are not in this. Don't get misguided, don't get deviated from the path that you need to score higher. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to bust this particular myth about the pitch issues. What we are going to do is first of all, see the scores of the people I showed the sample. Okay, this was the first one from the Middle East student and this was the second scorecard. This is the real exam, this is the official mock test. You can see their scores. Now we are only focusing about speaking module. See how much that voice got, 89, and this guy only attempted the speaking section because he was in so much fear about his speaking concerns that he just attempted the speaking module. Still got 85. And you see how much speaking is important for your other modules as well. Roughly 40 points for reading, 40 points for listening. Now let's hear those voices again. This guy, 89. Okay, he was in absolute shock that I am never going to pass the PTE speaking test because my voice is so husky. Is it actually husky? Let's listen to. And this guy was actually put on for a couple weeks to work on his pitch by an institute in Australia. Okay, so this is how the level of misguidance is creating problems for you. We listen to those voices again to understand whether these voices are really husky.
Lions and lioness play different roles in the life of the pride. The lioness work together to hunt and help.
This guy got 85. This guy.
The given image represents that it is a beautiful image. There must have been a popular debate about this image.
This guy got 90 score, 89, which is very close to 90. So that is what I wanted to show you before I show you the steps to improve. That please, first of all, protect yourself from these kind of misguidance, these kind of myths, rumors that people are creating on the internet. Okay, don't bother about the pitch analyzer app downloading and worrying about that. You saw my own pitch. I use from a low pitch to a high pitch and I can still get 90 every single time that I go for the speaking exam. Same with these students, the scores that you saw. Before they came to us, they were put on a separate path of improvement. But once I started pointing out them in the correct path, you saw the scores what they are getting now. Okay, so protect yourself from the rumors and follow these steps. Believe me, you will absolutely improve. Step number 1 is just work with simple sentences first. Okay, read one sentence, don't go for a big paragraph in the beginning. Always start from basics, always start slowly and then keep on adding. So work with simple sentences, identify the issues, whether it's hesitation issues, whether it's pronunciation issues. Okay, if you are unable to do that, you can join our live classes. We help to identify those issues for our students every single day. And once we start giving them this simple plan that they have to work from the basics, work with simple things, starting with words. You perfect the pronunciation of words. Instead of conversation, you say conversation. Practice hundreds of different words one particular day, second particular day, till a week, then move on to sentences. Gradual increase. Okay, so that is what we want to aim for. Gradual increase. This is a language we are talking about. Can't be improved overnight. We can't start getting from 60 to 90 overnight. Okay, unless you have everything sorted, you just need guidance. But that's not the case with most of us. So I'm very, very serious about this technique, and I was very, very upset about these kind of videos from the internet. So work with simple sentences, start from words, perfect the words, then move on to sentences. Speak those words in the sentences and no hesitations at any cost. No artificial intonation required. Okay, just speak naturally with a natural pace. While you are doing that, you have to keep identifying the pronunciation patterns, the mistakes that you are making. If there is an influence of the native accent that I have, is it causing me to pronounce the wrong words? So you need to identify that when you are doing the simple practices in the sentences on the words. Then practice these words into the sentences, what I just told you. And the step number 4 is to finally move on to reading paragraphs. Gradual step-by-step improvement plan for yourself. Okay, whatever issues you have, either it's fluency or hesitations, but pitch is definitely not an issue for you, for most of you. Okay, for 99% of you. Now, let's do some couple of examples together so that you don't think that this is completely a theory lesson and we are not talking about the practical side of things. Now, let's talk about the two most important questions types of the PT exam, the PT speaking module. You saw the proof just now, how much it contributes to your reading score just from read aloud. Okay, there's no other question in the speaking section that contributes to reading. It's just read aloud. And you saw this guy's score from the Middle East who got close to 40 points just from read aloud because he just attempted speaking section. Now, if you see this text, some of the words may seem harmful to you because they may make you hesitate. So 40 seconds is given for you to prepare, identify those words. Let's say I'm reading those words in my 40 seconds and I selected in my mind, took a mental note that no, this particular word is going to make me twist my tongue or make me hesitate, make me fear. Don't panic. Just identify those words. It could be any words, okay, like margins or complex, could be anything. Just take a mental note and after that, in the next 40 seconds, after the beep sound, you need to speak as if those words are not there. Okay, don't put additional gap when you are skipping those words. That is something you need to practice. Okay, initially you may have to pause a little bit when you are reading the next word, but slowly with practice you can do that. You can skip 4 to 5 words easily in the read aloud. You can still cross 85, get a 90 score. Okay, same strategies those people were following. You saw 89 score, you saw 85 score. So these things are working. What we also experiment from time to time. This start of the month as well I experimented. Analysts were impressed by the improvement in reported across all regions, apart from the United Kingdom, and said that this reflected a clear effort to improve profitability across the business. Although the is still in its early stages and the valuation looks full, given the challenge of turning around such a large and business, this is certainly an impressive start. So you saw 3 of the words I skipped. But I tried to be natural in reading these words in continuation so that I don't pause there. Okay, there was a strong urge in myself that I need to skip this word, I must pause there because I'm skipping, doing an unnatural thing. But you still need to beat that with practice. You can do that. You can see how I was able to do it. Just be fluent and be confident. Don't add additional sounds or pauses there. Now you see there are commas in here, full stops in there, and you might have noticed, if not, then rewind and check it again. I took slight pauses at every commas and full stops. That is utmost importance, because this is exactly what the PT software is looking in your response. It is a part of fluency. Okay, if you don't pause at the commas and full stops, that means you don't know how to read. These are the punctuation symbols which are put in writing for only this reason, so that whenever the user, the reader, he reads it, he responds to it exactly the way it is intended to. Like question mark, when you read a question mark, how are you? Why does the pitch go up? Because the reader is reacting to it, and that gets adapted in the speaking when you do it naturally. So that was the first question. The second one is repeat sentence, which is also super important. Now you see, from repeat sentence and retell lecture for the PT academic exam, you saw again close to 40 marks that guy got, only from these two. And out of this, repeat sentence is the main important thing. So you see, fluency and pronunciation are again the key things. Content, not so important. And I have a separate video on this, elaborated with examples, covers the same thing. Now if you see how much you need to score full, how much you need to speak, 60 to 70% is what you need. You will still get 3 points for the content. Even if you manage to speak half of it, you still get 2 points for the content. Only if you are in this particular area where you are speaking less than 50%, you are still getting 1 point. If you don't speak anything, of course, you will get 0 points. So how much does it cause, or does it contribute to your listening module? This much, 30 points to speaking, 30 points to listening. And you can follow the approach that I'm suggesting here. You speak whatever you remember. There is a separate video, as I told you. You watch that carefully. I've shown you a proof from a live student who managed to overcome the problem and jumped by 10 points in speaking straight away just by fixing his repeat sentence. So let's do another exam question. Let's see how you are doing this time. Okay, now normally it should be an audio, but this time I'm just giving you the text to see and understand. But I'll speak it for you. Every European car maker has been on the blocks because of their dependence on diesel. Okay, that's how you could hear it in the exam. First things first, you need to understand what the audio was saying. So what was it saying? Every European car maker has been on the blocks because of dependence on diesel. Okay, so I'm just looking at the text so that I convey the right information to you. Now, if someone speaks to me, I will still try to make sense out of it. What was happening here? Car maker in Europe, okay, dependent on diesel, are on the blocks. This is what I understood. Even though I don't understand the 100% meaning, what does on the blocks mean? But I'll still try to relate to it. Okay, and then I need to repeat after a couple of seconds gap. Now, whatever words I don't remember, I will skip that. Whatever I remember, I will just speak it fluently. The number one criteria is fluency and pronunciation of the words that you are speaking. So if I don't remember some of the words like dependence or because, I can still say the other words. Every European car maker has been on the blocks and dependence on diesel. So I didn't even look at it. On the blocks, and after that, I didn't say this part. I added another word and said this thing. That's okay. But in the end, you should sound fluent. And if you sound fluent, then the PT software can't deduct the scores from you. Forget about the myths, forget about the pitch issues. Just focus on the techniques and absolutely you will start crossing 79 in every attempt you take after that. Okay, as I said before, if you still don't know how to succeed, you can join our live courses where we are helping hundreds of students every single day, pointing out individually what issues are with you. Okay, not everyone has all the issues. So whatever issues you have, we will point it out to you, and then you need to start working on it using the steps I'm going to show you. So I hope I was able to open your eyes with what is happening on the YouTube and what the institutes are doing to make money out of you. And if you haven't watched the PT exam changes, the recent exam changes that I shared for September, which has a lot of good news, please do watch it. And don't forget to keep watching Edutrainex because I'll soon be back with another myth busting or maybe more informational videos related to the PT topics. See you soon.